Funding for this video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. You're falling. What's up, punks? And welcome to video. If you're wondering where the heck we are right now, valid concern. Stay tuned for next week's video. But for now, hello, hi, my name is Allie, and today we're going to do what we do at the beginning of every month, and that is sit down, get cozy, and talk about everything that was read in the previous month. As you may have seen in past vlogs, life was pretty chaotic in the month of March. I impulsively signed up for an intensive Dutch course 2 months earlier than originally planned because one, I'm impulsive, and B, I live in northern Belgium, but was not born in northern Belgium, so it is crucial for me to learn the language of the land. The class absolutely kicked my butt, if you were wondering. But somehow I managed to come out the other side with a passing grade. Woo! So right now you are looking at a level 4 Dutch language speaker. So I sit comfortably in the middle of a B2, and in a couple of weeks I will be starting level 5. It's so scary, we're just gonna take it one day at a time. The point is that I didn't necessarily read as much as I typically do within a month, but it was still bountiful, it was still plentiful, it was still exciting. The vibe was a little strange, and so the collection of books that we have to discuss today are also a little all over the place. About half of them are graphic novels, which is such a killer way to continue reading while having fun and not breaking your brain while doing so. So 5 stars to that choice. But without further ado, let's finally talk about these books. You already know our 3 disclaimers. The first one is to remember to only compare yourself to you in all realms of life, to be honest, but especially when it comes to reading, and especially when it comes to the different amounts that we're all reading. As long as you're reading, you're winning. The second is that if I loved a book that you hated or hated a book that you loved, it's not a personal attack, it just means that we had different emotions towards ink on paper. It's not that deep. We all look for different things when it comes to books, and that is celebrated in this house. And finally, of course, check any and all content warnings if you need to. If you have any sensitivities, there's no shame in that. Take care of yourself. The first book I read in March was Meditate Yourself Happy, Change Your Mood Through Daily Meditation by Fiona Lamb. This is a book that I found randomly at Waterstones one day. I have recently begun my journey into meditation, mindfulness, self-help, etc. I am on this journey because I am really bad at relaxing. It's like I don't know how to relax. I'm somebody who suffers from chronic migraines, and so I feel this strange pressure to make the most out of every moment where I'm not in pain and unable to do anything else. But the thing that I need to get better at is realizing that resting is a valuable use of your time. I've said in a past vlog that maybe, just maybe, if I didn't spend every second of my life either suffering or working my butt off in order to make up for the time that I spent suffering, maybe I would suffer less. And so here we are. This book is written by a hypnotherapist and has absolutely 0 reviews on Goodreads. However, I gave it a scoop because of the visual aids within it, which really worked out because 1, I'm a beginner, so I need the most baby intro 101 type resources to navigate these waters. 2, I'm a visual learner, so points for that. And 3, I'm autistic, and so I struggle to understand my feelings and being in tune with my body, and so to have a visual way to explore and understand my feelings, top tier. So how this book works is you pick a feeling that you want to nourish from the feelings wheel, and then you flip to that color section of the book, and then you're given a little breakdown of that feeling, reassurances to keep in mind surrounding that feeling, as well as affirmations and specific meditation exercises to nurture said feeling. I'm personally an absolute slut for affirmations, so what I've been doing is picking an emotion that I think I need to focus on more that week, and then when I do my bullet journal weekly spread, I pick an affirmation and throw it into that spread, so then I look at it every single day, keep my mind on that feeling. You get the idea. Another way I love to use this book is to do a big brain dump journaling exercise to then detangle my feelings, understand where I'm at better, and then it's easier for me to pick a feeling that I need to nurture and then doing a meditation after doing the journaling. Chef's kiss. So this is a cute and simple resource if you're anything like me. You're trying to figure out how to be more mindful, how to slow down, but the idea of doing so is daunting and seemingly insurmountable. This book makes it accessible in my opinion. I've been using this book like wild the past month. Highly recommend. Next, I read 3 volumes of Giant Days, so volumes 3, 4, and 5. Giant Days are some of my favorite graphic novels ever. It's a slice of life series about Daisy, Esther, and Susan, 3 newfound friends, and we follow them on their absolute hijinks, shenanigans, and tomfoolery that unfolds in their everyday. We tackle the mundane in some of the most hilarious ways possible, with moments such as trying to find university housing last minute, convincing a pal to not drop out of school, making a short film in hopes of earning $5,000, and one person going on 3 dates in just 1 day. This series series is just so lighthearted and comforting. When I was my most overwhelmed last month, these brought me solace. They kept my feet on the ground. When I was literally so stressed to the point of breaking down and crying, I would pick up one of these and it would have me giggling alone in a room by myself. But what I love most about this series is the Saturday morning cartoon feeling that they provide. It's such a nostalgic place that it takes you to. The fact that I'm almost 30 years old and I'm still able to access that feeling of eating a bowl of Trix cereal and watching 15 minutes of SpongeBob before the school bus picks me up is just so magical. And I thank this series for taking me there. Can't wait to read more. Okay, staying in the theme of books with pictures on paper, I read Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This is a graphic horror manga that follows a handful of characters in a small village that seems to be overcome by a curse or sickness of sorts. The sickness makes the infected, so to say, obsessed with spirals. People throughout the village slowly start to become hypnotized and lost in this shape, and horrifying things unfold. This is easily the weirdest book that I've ever read, hands down, no competition. It very much had a similar flavor to Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung, you know, the taste of unsettling simplicity. So I think if you liked one of these, you would like the other as well. I am truly just so impressed with my reading experience here overall. The fact that Junji Ito decided, no, I am not going to insert a murderer or a ghost or any other typical spooky antagonist in my story. Wrong. I'm going to make you afraid of a shape. Less than, in fact. I'm gonna make you afraid of a squiggly little line. How did he do that? I don't know, but I'm glad he did. This was a buddy read with my bookish friend Taz, and I'm so glad that we tackled this one together because I'm very easily frightened. I was very intimidated by Junji Ito, and so to have a friend by my side while experiencing it for the first time, blessed, grateful, iconic, amazing, never been done before. I did ask for other Ito recommendations in my last vlog because I am afraid that I started with the strongest contender, but I do want to read more from him. As of right now, I have Cat Diary on my online TBR thanks to y'all, but please do not hesitate to let me know which Ito is your favorite if you have any other recommendations for me, because I definitely have to pick up more from him. The next one was our book club book, and the book club for this channel is the Pocket Pages, which is through the Patreon. It's $1 a month. Join us if you'd like. We read something new each and every month and then discuss in a temporary Discord server, and so you don't have to be available for any live streams or anything like that. Time zones can't stop us. So if you would like to have a never-ending book club in your pocket, that is linked down below. What we read in March was Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. This was my first Morrison, and the too long didn't read edition of my review is I cannot wait to read more of Toni Morrison. I get why everyone is so hyped about this author. I have my ticket for the bandwagon. This is a coming-of-age story that follows our protagonist Milkman as he gets to understand himself and his family a little bit better. Now, a negative side of this experience was that it did have a book you would be assigned for at school flavor to it, in the sense that the structure of the story is difficult to follow, but the themes are immaculate. And so even though this didn't play the movie in my head, it hardly bothered me because of these lines that just jumped off the page and slapped me right in the face, and the themes that would have me stop and think so frequently. We powerfully navigate race and class and privilege and feminism and more. A moment that I will never forget. I'm absolutely obsessed with the moment where Milkman's girlfriend has an outburst, let's just say, and his best friend takes the side of the girlfriend and says, take it any way you want, but that girl's hurt and that hurt came from you. Such a subtle yet strong way to comment on the crazy ex-girlfriend narrative, questioning what led her to get to the place where she is at, instead of simply seeing a contextless outcome. That's just one example of how gorgeous this book was and how wonderfully and carefully each line was crafted. Some other ones include, I wish I'd have known more people. I would have loved them all. If I'd have known more, I would have loved more. And choose the third beer, not the first one, which the throat receives with almost tearful gratitude, nor the second, that confirms and extends the pleasure of the first, but the third, the one you drink because it's there, because it can't hurt, because what difference does it make? Or perhaps that's all human relationships boiled down to. Would you save my life, or would you take it? So while yes, there were aspects of this that I struggled with personally, but in the end, it was an undoubtedly valuable reading experience. And it seemed to be for y'all as well, because honestly, I don't think the Discord has ever popped off more than it did last March. I loved to read y'all's opinions and takes and interpretations, and I agree with those of you in the chat that said that the women were the strongest aspect of this story. I think so too, and so I'm so excited to read the other Morrisons on my shelf that are women-led. Just stoked to read more of Morrison in general. Thank you so much for reading this one with me and for feeding such a rich discussion surrounding it. My next buddy read was Fruits by Diz Tate, which I buddy read with my bookish friend Kirsty. And what a book to read together as well. This one fit the flavor of our friendship to a T. This one takes place in a little Florida town as a group of teenage girls become eerily obsessed with said town's pastor's daughter, who mysteriously goes missing one day. Honestly, the only real issue that I have with this book is how it's marketed. One of the top genres on the list is that it's a thriller, which I guess technically kind of yes, but I just don't want y'all to get it twisted thinking that this is your next Riley Sager. This is more so your next Ian Reid. It's definitely very lit-ficky, which Kirsty and I definitely very much enjoy. It's eerie, it's questionable, it's confusing, in all the best ways possible. Both of us loved this book so much. We absolutely adored the themes surrounding motherhood and how gross girlhood can be. The themes surrounding goodness really struck a chord with me personally. But overall, what drove this book home was the writing. So out of this world, so impressive. Just so surprised that this was a debut. I can't wrap my mind around that. There were so many lines that I am never gonna forget. Some of my favorites include, "He could do this all day long. It never bores him. The pain followed by the love. I wonder if he is onto something. He wants to experience the two extremes of life constantly. My daughter is doomed. She wants to understand them." Or, "They cried, we cried too, because we felt they were saying we were wrong. We felt foul and fatherly and frightened of ourselves. We tried to make ourselves small. We were coiled up, but we were not broken. And we knew our mother's idea of goodness was not measured by morals, but by how much noise we made. And we quickly grew tired of trying to be good in their way." Or, "I used to think people only lied to make their lives mean something. Now I think people lie to make their lives meaningless because it makes them so much easier to live." I'd say this book is for you if you are somebody who is comfortable with not having all of your questions answered. If you loved Our Wives Under the Sea, which I did, I think you'd love this book. If you loved Pew by Catherine Lacey, which I did, I think you'd love this book. Tate's writing abilities blew me out of the water, and so I will be pre-ordering anything else she writes from here on out. And the final buddy read in March was Before Your Memory Fades by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I read this one with my bookish friend Michaela. We both really loved this series, and so it was such a pleasure to read the last one together as friends, although there is rumor that a fourth one is coming out, question mark. But this is the third book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold trilogy, a series that takes place in a cozy and comforting cafe that holds the magical ability to transport its patrons to a moment in the past, but the catch is they have to return before the coffee gets cold. Such a simple and creative concept, I'm never gonna get over it. I really think that all of these books just pack such a unique punch. The first was out of this world to me. The second was still pretty good. And this one is a combination of both out of this world and pretty good, but then we end on the out of this world foot. Each book of the three have that anthological feel. Each chapter follows a different character who wants to time travel for their own personal reasons, and so each chapter feels like its own short story, but they're all woven together with the characters that work in the cafe and the characters who are time traveling also know each other. It all comes full circle. It's very well done in my opinion. This one in particular, the ending absolutely slapped. It made me shed one single tear, which if you're not new here, you know how hard it is for me to cry while reading a book. I absolutely sobbed while reading Crying in H Mart. I shed one tear during the first Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and then I shed one other singular tear reading the third Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And that's it. Those are all the liquids that escaped my face while reading ink on paper. So I think that says a lot about how moving these books are to me. I see all the time everywhere, Goodreads, YouTube, BookTube, BookTok, etc., that these books are just mid. And for some reason, I can't see why anyone would think that. But that's okay. We all like different things. Like I said, that's wonderful. It's celebrated here, so please keep that in mind while we go over the final 2 books of the month. Please, okay, thank you. Because finally I read A Day of Fallen Night and The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Now, I won't go too deeply into these 2 books because there was an entire reading vlog dedicated to them. We dissected all of the feelings in real time and did a big ol' reflection at the end, so you've already seen it, you've already heard it, and if you haven't, it's available, of course. These 2 books, The Priory of the Orange Tree and its prequel, are both about a queendom with no heir, and that fact alone sets both queendoms up to strong susceptibility of dragony violence, essentially. The Reader's Digest pocketbook edition of my feelings is that I don't think Samantha Shannon and I are compatible as reader and author, and that's fine. I really wanted to get into the hype and love these books with everyone. I was so excited. I planned on doing that whole reading vlog because I was so certain that I was gonna walk away so psyched, but unfortunately that simply was not my reality. There were a few lines that I really loved. I tabbed, I underlined, I shared them in the video. There were some moments that shocked me, but overall this experience was such a slog to me. It was so difficult to follow despite extensive usage of the glossary. In my opinion, Shannon just tends to fall into telling instead of showing all too frequently, which just makes for a dangerous combination when we're dealing with so many characters and such complex political entanglements. I'm so glad that I read these books in a challenge with a time pressure component because I gotta be honest, I would have definitely DNF'd these otherwise. But I'm happy there was the challenge because I'm still glad to have read them because of the community aspect of this. I feel like everyone loved these books and I think that that's wonderful and I wish I were you so bad. But regardless, I'm still stoked to have experienced experienced the same thing that it seems like the majority of the internet has also experienced. I'm happy to be part of the conversation. It was exciting to talk to my friends who read this book while I was reading this book, despite me not really liking the books. And like I said before, and I will continue to say religiously on this channel, I honestly find a lot of comfort in the fact that we all like different things, because it reassures me that there's a place, rhyme, and reason for everything. We all gravitate towards different books, different people, different songs, different movies, and so in the end we're all happy little pieces in the confusing and oftentimes painful puzzle of life. And there you have it. Those are the 10 books that I read in the month of March, and now I will be happily ringing in the springtime. I feel like the first quarter of the year is always so strange and funky as far as feelings and reading is concerned, so stoked to be out the other side. Look at us Northern Hemispheres, we did it. We made it through another winter. Congratulations, truly. The days are longer, the air is warmer, and happy reading times are in our futures. Cheers to that, and thank you to everyone at patreon.com who make it possible for me to call reading, making, and creating things for y'all my job. Endlessly grateful for y'all. Thank you for keeping this cozy corner of the internet alive. Next week we will explore where in the heck we are right now. So stay tuned for that. Vlog next week, and as always, thank you for clicking, thank you for caring, and thank you for being nice. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!